Welcome to the deep dive.
Today we're diving into some really incredibly dense source material.
Yeah, powerful stuff. It really pulls back the curtain on, that image of suburban perfection.
Absolutely. And exposes what happens when a secret, just one devastating secret, is hidden away.
We're looking at the architecture of that secret, really. How a single act, maybe impulsive, can just spread.
Like a contamination, right.
Yeah.
Affecting whole families who seem, on the surface, completely unconnected.
Exactly. It's not just about the secret itself, but its weight, how it warps everything around it.
That's it. Our sources are just masterful at weaving these threads together. 3 different domestic dramas, each kind of imploding on its own.
Yeah, and then, bam, they collide because of this one hidden event from the past.
Right. So our mission here, for you listening, is to go beyond just the plot points. We want to unpack the emotional physics.
Yeah, the guilt, the compromises people make, how fate can seem so random.
And how quickly that sense of ordinary life, that comfortable routine, can just evaporate, vanish.
The setting is key too, isn't it? This world of well-organized chaos.
Peri-Republic, yeah. School pickups, Tupperware parties.
The whole pressure cooker of modern motherhood. The sources talk about the mummy wars.
That underlying competition,
Yeah.
it's relentless. Where every little thing like a bake sale feels high stakes.
It sets the stage perfectly for the moral minefield we're about to walk into.
And we're following 3 main women caught in this. There's Cecilia Fitzpatrick.
She's the one trying to keep that perfect facade going.
Then Tess O'Leary, who's reeling from a sudden betrayal.
And Rachel Crowley, who's still living in the shadow of a tragedy from decades ago.
And this hidden secret is the catalyst that forces their worlds together.
So if you're the learner wanting the inside track on themes of fate, secrecy, and just how fragile normal life is,
stick with us. By the end of this deep dive, you'll understand why this material gets praised for showing how life turns not just on big decisions, but on all those little compromises along the way.
Okay, let's get into it.
So let's start with Cecilia Fitzpatrick. She's really the embodiment of that hyper-organized suburban ideal, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely. Control is her whole game. The sources say she sees her life, managing the kids, the house, the community stuff.
As a project, yeah. Made of 1,000 tiny pieces.
And she prides herself on slotting them all in perfectly. Her superpower is just focus.
It's almost like motherhood is this extreme sport, and she's the star athlete.
Right. And the proof is this incredibly pristine life. Her house is extraordinarily well organized.
Down to the labeled Tupperware in the attic.
Exactly. And the other mothers are always asking, how do you do it all, Cecilia?
And she doesn't really see it as a compliment, more like confirmation, like why can't they do it?
But this organization, it's more than just being tidy, isn't it? It's a defense mechanism.
Totally. It's her shield. If she can control the Tupperware, the schedules, maybe she can control the bigger, scarier stuff, morality, fate.
Which makes the moment it all starts to crack even more potent.
And it starts with something so mundane. She's looking for a souvenir.
Her piece of the Berlin Wall for her daughter Esther. She's up in the attic.
Bangs her head, gets distracted.
And knocks over this tower of shoeboxes belonging to her husband, John Paul.
Full of old financial receipts. Decades of them. The paper trail of their respectable life together.
And there it is, buried in the mess. A white business envelope.
John Paul's handwriting. For my wife, Cecilia Fitzpatrick.
And the kicker. To be open only in the event of my death. Chilling.
And her first reaction is fascinating. Not curiosity, but shame.
Yeah. Like she stumbled on something private, even though it's addressed to her. She feels unfocused.
Her instinct is to follow the rule. Don't open it. Preserve the order. Even though she knows her friends will be like, open it now.
The context with her daughter Esther and the Berlin Wall is such great foreshadowing, too.
Oh, yeah. Esther's obsessed with the wall, knows all the facts.
Including that Khrushchev was behind it.
And Cecilia has this dark little fantasy about going back in time to stop Khrushchev.
Linking this huge historical wall of division and secrets.
To the personal, terrifying wall John Paul seems to have built between them with this letter. It's brilliant.
So even though she doesn't open it right away, just knowing it exists starts eating away at her.
Definitely. It undermines her whole reality. So when she finally calls John Paul, he's away in Chicago.
But she asks him about it. And his reaction, that's where the lie really reveals itself.
Yeah, see, John Paul is described as handsome, successful, an engineer, but also completely hopeless with everyday stuff.
Loses his keys, his wallet, his wedding ring even.
And Cecilia found that endearing almost, comforting. Like, he's not practical, but in a real crisis, a fire, a gunman.
He'd be the hero.
That was her image of him. Solid, dependable at his core.
But when he dismisses the letter over the phone, says it was just some sappy stuff he wrote years ago after their daughter Isabel was born.
He sounds wrong. Self-conscious, over-the-top remorseful.
Exactly. She can hear the performance. She knows instantly he's lying about something big, not something sentimental. And the sources contrast this beautifully with her previous certainty about him.
That line where she dismissed their recent lack of intimacy.
Thinking he wouldn't cross a double yellow line for $1 million. That level of faith in his basic integrity.
And now, that faith is shattered. If he can lie about this, what other lines has he crossed? Her foundation is cracked.
Okay, so Cecilia's world is starting to wobble. Now let's shift to Tess O'Leary, where the foundation doesn't wobble, it just explodes.
Yeah, it's a completely different kind of impact. Tess, her husband Will, and her cousin Felicity, who's also her business partner.
They're just having a normal midlife conversation, right? About work stuff, packaging for their cough stop product.
Total mundanity. And Will and Felicity dropped the bomb. They fell in love.
Oh, God. The source material describes Tess realizing they were already a we without her.
She imagines them having these intense, teary conversations about their passion, probably finding it quite, enjoyable in its intensity.
It's not just the affair, it's the exclusion, the rewriting of her reality behind her back.
Her reaction is pure shock. She slams her fists on the table, finds it farcical and absurd and somewhat thrilling, all at once.
That mix of emotions really captures the disorientation, doesn't it?
It does. And what's really telling is where her mind goes first.
Not to revenge.
Not immediately. Her primary focus snaps straight to her son, Liam.
Ah, right. Protecting him from the trauma she went through.
Exactly. Her own parents' divorce, her dad leaving. And she remembers packing that little overnight bag every second Friday.
She's determined Liam won't have that fractured childhood. That becomes her anchor.
And this crisis also forces us, and Tess, to look at her own personality more closely.
The social anxiety.
Right. Described as severe, something she manages like lactose intolerance, always forcing herself to make eye contact, to make small talk.
Her mother apparently called it a form of selfishness, which is harsh.
It is harsh, but it highlights how much effort everyday interaction takes for her. Her marriage, her partnership with Felicity, that was her safe zone. Now it's gone.
And the dynamic with Felicity is crucial, too.
Absolutely. Felicity used to be her faithful, fat sidekick. That's the phrasing used.
And Tess maybe subconsciously liked that dynamic. It made her feel secure.
But Felicity lost a lot of weight. 40 kilos, became extremely beautiful.
And Felicity herself says losing the weight gave her superpowers that worked on Will. She'd apparently loved him for years.
So Tess hasn't just lost her husband. She's lost her cousin, her business partner, and that whole power dynamic that defined their relationship. It's total wipeout.
So what does she do? She runs.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Flies to Sydney. The excuse is to help her mother, Lucy, who's broken her ankle.
And Lucy sounds like a character. Sharp-tongued.
Oh, yeah. Her immediate reaction to the news about Felicity. The little bitch.
Huh. Okay, so some immediate, uncomplicated support there.
Yes, but Tess is clearly looking for something more destructive, maybe, to manage the pain.
And she finds it.
She runs into an ex-boyfriend, Connor Whitby, the PE teacher at St. Angela's.
Wait, the Connor Whitby from Rachel's story later?
The very same.
Yeah.
Small world in Puri, even extending to Sydney connections.
Okay, wow. So she runs into Connor.
And she makes a conscious choice to sleep with him. The sources frame it very clearly as retaliation.
Not about connection, but about pain relief, justification.
Both. She later admits she felt like she was fucking them, meaning Will and Felicity, through Connor. It was an act designed to inflict pain, or at least mirror the pain she felt.
So unlike Cecilia, who's trying to contain the damage, Tess's reaction is to lash out, to detonate things further.
In a way, yes. It's a desperate attempt to regain some control, maybe, or just obliterate the feeling of being a victim. It's a really different response to having your world suddenly upended.
Okay, so we've got Cecilia's slow burn anxiety and Tess's explosive reaction. Now we turn to Rachel Crowley. Her world didn't just break, it seems like it shattered years ago and never got put back together.
That's a perfect way to put it. Her entire life pivots around one date, April 6, 1984.
The day her 17-year-old daughter Janie was murdered.
Everything for Rachel is before or after. The trauma basically arrested her development.
And she works at St. Angela's, the school.
Janie's old primary school, yeah. She's the school secretary. And she feels she has to be there.
Like a duty.
A duty, yes, to Janie's memory. But also, as she puts it, to face up to this man.
The man she suspects.
The man she suspected for 28 years, Connor Whitby, the PE teacher, the same one Tess just encountered.
Wow. The connections are tightening. So Connor works at the same school as Rachel.
Yes, which for Rachel just poisons everything. It taints all her memories of the place, her soft, sepia-colored memories of Janie there.
She must watch him constantly.
The sources describe exactly that. Her perception of him flickers. One minute he's just a guy eating a red apple, seems harmless.
And the next.
She sees his face, maybe catches an impassive look, and bam, the certainty rushes back. You know what happened. 28 years of unwavering conviction.
Has Connor ever addressed it? I mean, he must know she suspects him.
He has. Apparently, he approached her, said he still thinks about Janie, and asked if him working there made her uncomfortable.
How did she take that?
For Rachel, it just confirmed his guilt.
Mm.
She read his awkwardness, his self-consciousness, as proof, veiled confession.
It's like her grief has created this lens, and everything she sees has to fit the narrative she needs.
Yeah, exactly. And she feels this profound guilt for surviving. She mentions her husband, Ed, her parents. They all died relatively young after Janie.
Of broken hearts, she says.
Right. While her own heart stubbornly refused to break, which makes her feel ashamed, she misses the ordinary struggles, the tricky tussle of life as a mother and a wife.
So she's stuck in this loop of grief and suspicion until something changes.
Until the VHS tape. After almost 3 decades of nothing, this feels like divine intervention to her.
She finds this old tape, thinks it's just an old soap opera recording.
Sons and daughters, yeah. But no, it's footage from 1984.
And it shows Janie.
In Connor, in some boy's bedroom. It's dark, grainy footage.
What happens?
Janie is breaking up with Connor. He looks utterly smitten, completely devastated.
Okay.
But then Janie says something cruel. She mentions another boy, the boy she's chosen instead of him.
And we, the readers, know who that is.
We know it's John Paul Fitzpatrick, Cecilia's husband. But Rachel doesn't know that yet. She just hears the reference to another boy.
And Connor's reaction.
Instant rage. He lunges, apparently violently, towards the person holding the camera, and the tape cuts out.
Oh my God. So Rachel sees this.
She sees the rage, that murderous look, as she perceives it. And for her, that's it. Proof. The smoking gun she's waited 28 years for.
Never mind that the tape cuts off, that we don't see what actually happened.
For her, the look is enough. It confirms everything she's believed for nearly 3 decades. It has to be Connor.
So she takes it to the police.
Yeah, Sergeant Rodney, he's a bit dismissive, calls it a tiff, but he agrees to review it properly.
But Rachel is now absolutely convinced she has her target locked.
Locked and loaded. That certainty is terrifying given what we know is coming.
Okay, so the pieces are all in motion. Rachel thinks she has proof against Connor. Cecilia is consumed by suspicion about John Paul's letter. Tess is off seeking retribution.
And it all converges. John Paul comes home early from Chicago. Good Friday.
And Cecilia confronts him. She opened the letter.
Yes. She couldn't wait any longer. She opens it, reads whatever's inside, we don't know the exact words initially, and confronts him.
And he confesses.
He confesses. Tells her the truth she probably already suspected deep down. He killed Janie Crowley 28 years ago.
Wow. How does he explain it?
As an impulsive act. He says Janie was breaking up with him, and then she laughed unexpectedly.
Laugh.
Yeah. That laugh just ripped through him, he says. He lashed out. A single, terrible moment.
And his life since then?
Has been this constant hidden penance. The sources mentioned debilitating migraines, his refusal to try for another child, giving up sex for months at a time.
Self-flagellation, almost.
Definitely. Driven by this deep-seated belief that he's damned. He's convinced he's going to hell, as if hell is an actual physical place.
And Cecilia finds this religious certainty shocking, right?
Absolutely. She thinks they weren't that type of Catholics. His fear isn't just legal, it's profoundly theological, existential.
And this confession triggers another realization for Cecilia about John Paul's mother.
Virginia, yes. Cecilia suddenly understands why Virginia gave her that weird advice earlier.
To put her husband and your daughters first.
It wasn't just generic advice. Virginia knew. She's known for years. And she was essentially coaching Cecilia on how to keep the secret, how to protect the family structure above all else.
God, the layers of deception. It's suffocating.
It really is. And then the immediate problem becomes Rachel's videotape.
John Paul learns about it.
Yes. And he's terrified. Not because it points to him,
Right.
but because it points to Connor.
Ah, because if an innocent man is accused.
He says he'd have to turn himself in, obviously. That flicker of conscience is still there,
Right.
but the panic is overwhelming.
And the physical proximity just makes it worse. Cecilia actually drives Rachel home from a Tupperware party.
Can you imagine the tension in that car?
Unbearable. And Rachel confides in Cecilia.
She does. Says she has new evidence, proof of who killed Janie.
And Cecilia knows she means Connor. She knows Rachel is about to potentially ruin an innocent man's life based on evidence that actually stems from her husband's
The
crime.
weight of that knowledge must be crushing for Cecilia.
And then the accident. It's Good Friday.
John Paul is out with their daughters. Rachel is driving, consumed by this righteous fury now that she thinks she has proof.
She sees Connor Whitby on the road.
The man she's hated for 28 years. The man she believes destroyed her life.
And in that moment,
She snaps. All that grief, all that certainty turns into action. She puts her foot down on the accelerator intentionally.
she tries to hit him.
She tries to hit Connor Whitby, but she misses.
And hits.
Polly, Cecilia and John Paul's youngest daughter, on her little bike wearing her pink sparkly helmet.
Oh no, the absolute worst possible outcome.
Rachel knows instantly what she's done. Not just caused an accident, but committed an act of intended violence that went horrifically wrong.
The source says her thought is immediate. I saw Connor Whitby and I put my foot on the accelerator. I wanted to hurt him.
No ambiguity for her. The culpability is absolute. The three separate worlds haven't just collided, they've imploded on the most innocent person imaginable.
So the accident happens. Polly is hit. What's the immediate fallout?
Chaos and devastation, obviously. Polly is rushed to the hospital. The doctor, Dr. Yu, delivers the news to Cecilia and John Paul.
How bad is it?
It's bad. Concussion, ruptured spleen, fractured tibia,
Yeah.
and her right arm. It's not salvageable.
Oh God, her arm has to be amputated.
That's the implication. A permanent, life-altering injury. The direct physical price of all these secrets and lies and rage.
Cecilia's reaction must be unimaginable.
Pure fury and helplessness. The source mentions her wishing they could just take her arm instead, her ordinary, unappealing arm. Her mind is sluggish with shock. The organizer is gone.
And Rachel, she must be drowning in guilt.
Completely. She comes to the hospital knowing I'm sorry is meaningless. She feels she has to confess her intent that she aimed for Connor.
But Cecilia, does she let her?
No. Incredibly, Cecilia's first instinct, even in her shock, is to protect the narrative.
Yeah.
To maintain some kind of order, however twisted.
What does she do?
She lies. She tells Rachel it was an accident. She even makes up a story about Polly chasing Mr. Whitby into the road.
She's trying to absolve Rachel, to
Well, what?
keep the focus off the real reason Rachel might have been driving erratically.
Perhaps. Or maybe it's just cognitive dissonance kicking in. Denying the horrifying complexity of it all. Trying to simplify it into a tragic accident.
But Rachel pushes back.
Rachel insists. She confesses again.
Yeah.
She intended to hit Connor. She needs to own her part in it.
And that forces Cecilia's hand.
It does. Faced with Rachel's desperate honesty, Cecilia finally breaks the ultimate wall. She tells Rachel the truth.
It wasn't Connor.
It was John Paul.
Imagine hearing that. After 28 years of certainty, how does Rachel even process it?
The sources describe her struggling intensely, shifting nearly 3 decades of focused hatred from Connor the shifty guy on the motorbike to John Paul.
John Paul, the handsome, polite, successful family man who helped out at the school. Nice hair.
Exactly. The face of evil wasn't what she expected. It was respectable, normal, part of the community fabric. That shift is profound.
So now the truth is out, at least between Cecilia and Rachel. What about John Paul?
He's consumed by guilt over Polly's injury, which he knows is indirectly his fault. He offers again to turn himself in.
He's willing to go to jail, face his claustrophobia.
He says he is. Tell Cecilia, I'm not going to ask you to carry this too. He seems ready to accept the consequences.
But Cecilia...
Lying beside him later, she makes her choice. The source material is explicit here. She hates him for what he did to Janie, for causing this accident. But she won't ask him to confess.
She chooses silence.
To protect what's left, her other children. The fractured remnants of her family, her life, her goodness had limits.
The rule follower, the community helper, she chooses complicity.
Yes, she's prepared to allow another mother to suffer, Rachel, grappling with her own guilt to keep her own damaged structure intact.
That line is brutal. Nothing truly hurts until it happens to you. Her empathy reaches its limit when her own survival is at stake.
It's a stark moment of moral compromise. Justice takes a backseat to self-preservation.
Meanwhile, what's happening with Tess and Will? A very different kind of reckoning.
Completely different. They're hiding Easter eggs for Liam in Tess's mom's garden, of all places. And they have a real conversation.
They acknowledge the elephant in the room, Felicity.
They agree the only reason they're even trying to work through it, the only reason the crisis didn't just end everything, is Liam. Their son forces them to confront it.
And they actually connect.
They do, but through vulnerability, not passion. Will admits his insecurities, his bald spot, feeling flat. Tess admits her deep social anxiety, her fear of the school trivia night.
They drop the masks.
Exactly. They strip away the self-protective pride that kept them from true intimacy before. It's described as quiet, sleepy, married love that emerges.
It took the affair, the potential collapse, to force them into honesty.
It seems so, which connects back to that advice Tess got from her mother, Lucy.
To be bendy, flexible.
Right. Tess, in her own way, managed to apply that. She bent, she shared her vulnerability, and found a new, perhaps deeper connection with Will. Imperfect, but real.
Whereas Cecilia
chose rigidity.
Yeah.
She held onto her structure, protected the secret, even at the cost of justice, and another mother's peace.
And Rachel, what's her compromise?
Silence. Faced with the truth about John Paul and her own role in Polly's accident, wondering if her foot on the accelerator was an equal sin to his crime, she withdraws.
She doesn't pursue justice against John Paul.
No. She retires from the school, sells her house, moves away to be near her grandson. She essentially chooses to walk away from Piri and all its ghosts.
So the immediate price is Polly's arm, but the long-term price is paid in these moral compromises, shattered self-images.
Exactly. Cecilia loses her belief in her own goodness. Rachel loses her decades-long quest for justice and gains the burden of her own culpability. Tess gains honesty, but loses the illusion of her perfect partnership.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've seen how trying to maintain perfection, like Cecilia.
Or seeking external validation, like Tess and Felicity.
Or clinging to past grief and demanding justice, like Rachel.
All led to devastating consequences. It really exposed the dark side of that picturesque community. The structure of ordinary life proved incredibly fragile.
What really stands out is the idea of the wall. John Paul's secret wall, the Berlin Wall Esther was obsessed with. The wall of pride between Tess and Will.
Walls built to protect, to create order, but ultimately they were the things that had to crumble, weren't they? Causing immense damage in the process.
And you mentioned the source material doesn't quite end here. There's an epilogue.
That's right. The sources explicitly mention a gobsmacking twist in the epilogue, which we haven't explored today.
Okay, so even after all this resolution or lack thereof, there's more to come.
Which really hammers home the point, I think. The story continues, life continues, even after these huge moral compromises and life-altering events.
So the final thought for you, the listener, is this. After Cecilia chooses rigidity, after Rachel chooses silence, after they all decide to essentially look the other way to preserve what's left, is the secret truly contained?
Or does that cracked foundation, that fragile structure of their lives, just lie waiting for the next shockwave? Because the sources strongly suggest that once that illusion of control is gone, it might be gone for good. Something to think about.